Hello, friends, and welcome to Profoundish. I'm your host today, Weston. I will be joined by Alex shortly, where we talk about dating and what makes a good date. Should you go to the movie theater? And then later, we're playing some more Never Have I Ever. Listen, I need to get through this list, all right? I need to get through it. It's the only way. You're listening to Profoundish. Everybody, welcome to Profoundish. I'm Weston, and this is Alex.
Yes, this is the Mandela Effect episode.
This is the part where I just immediately start this podcast before we can go on another tirade for half an hour of not doing the podcast.
You know what's hard with that, though? You'll always just randomly start it, and then I gotta find a way that makes sense contextually for the listener to enter in. And it's so hard. When I edit these together.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I like to just start, and it's like, this is Alex's problem to figure out. Because if it were me, if I was doing the actual audio editing of like when to start it or whatever, I would just leave in probably so much more than you would. Just start rolling. Like we'd be like 5 minutes into the podcast and then say hello, right? Like that's how I would do it. I would just, everything's in, everything stays.
So in other words, if you were to edit the podcast, you wouldn't edit the podcast.
Very little. I mean, like I would cut out like the quiet at the beginning, the clapping, that stuff. You cut out a little bit. If I take like a phone call in the middle or something, I got to cut that out.
Okay, sure,
but
sure.
You put the music in, you add the ads. There's a little editing, but
yeah, I get it. I totally get that. I mean, there was this one joke we had at the beginning of one of the episodes that kind of I think it's when we first called it the Phantom Clap.
Yeah.
And I was gonna literally, because it went on for way too long to have it make sense for the listener to know why we call it a phantom clap. So I was considering going right before, a little behind the curtain, before we hit record, we count down and he claps. And I thought that's too much. Forget it. And I just left it in there anyway, and people can draw their own conclusions. So yeah, I get it. I get that.
Yeah, for everyone at home, we have a phantom clap. The Discord doesn't pick up when you just clap without talking. It like tunes it out. And so when we're syncing our audio, we both clap, but neither one of us can hear the clap. So it's the phantom clap.
It is the phantom clap.
See, I did it.
I love that name.
I did the thing for you. I did the whole explanation.
Now I can go back and tag it on at the end on that other episode.
Yeah, you're going to retroactively add this to an episode that's already out.
That's receiving less engagement now that it's been out for
it's like
for however many months. Let's do it.
We need to infiltrate a previous episode somehow and replace like parts of the audio. I don't know if that's possible. Just so that when people like go back to watch an old episode, like, oh, I really liked episode 13 or whatever. And then halfway through it, there's like a part in it that they don't remember. And it's like, hello, Profoundish listeners. This is Alex and Weston from the future.
Or we could go back and we could put in Flagpole Pig.
Flagpole Pig.
Flagpole Pig.
Flagpole
and now
Pig.
A message from our sponsor, Flagpole Pig.
We still need to do that. We need to organize that in some way. I think I wrote all these down in a notebook somewhere. I forget where the notebook is, but I have them all written down. And obviously they're in the podcast. But we still need to organize and do little mini podcast episodes of everything we came up with.
Flagpole Pig. Should probably just take a day and record like a few of them. We could do that. We could do booger balls. And then we can just start throwing them in there from time to time. Booger balls. I know it's such like it's low hanging fruit, as you would say. It's so easy to like but it's so funny. Just the name, booger balls. I remember when we did that episode. You're like, I'm gonna pick this. Like, how could I not? It was there.
I'm trying to come up with anything else that could be classier, but these are the three words that I have to choose from. I forget what the third word even was. It was booger, it was balls, and it was something else. I'm like, I mean, I gotta, right? It's. I like how over the last few weeks, we have just basically spent some time on this podcast coming up with alternative podcasts that we could be doing that isn't this one.
Yeah, what's that say? What's that say about how we feel about Profoundish?
I
can answer that.
Oh, go ahead.
We love Profoundish. See? All good things.
I was about to say, I think it's about time we retired, Profoundish. I think it's run its course. It's done everything that we need it to do.
Yeah, we've made a heck of a lot of money. We're sitting on millions. I think we're ready to retire.
We're sitting on millions. We haven't had a single sponsor.
No, we've sponsored ourselves since the beginning.
Somehow that has generated a revenue stream for us.
Yeah, somehow it has. I'm letting Weston figure out how, but
yeah, I'm the one that has to somehow launder the money. The podcast is just a front. I'm over here printing money, and we're like, oh no, it's not printed. We earned it from the podcast. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. That's what we do here. Anyway, we're retiring, so I hope you enjoyed this last episode.
How many episodes would we have to go before we actually feel good about retiring this podcast? Because it's like, we would probably say like never, right? There'd have to be some other like reason to stop, right? But how many episodes would be like a respectable number of episodes is what I mean.
Well, I think that's kind of a bigger question, because really, if the podcast really does tell its story, whatever its story may be, it could be as little as 25 episodes. However, I think I know what you're asking more or less, and I would say a respectable number, especially for a podcast like this. I think so how many weeks are in a year? 52?
Yeah.
52 weeks in a year? So I would say maybe like 2 years, 3 years, like 100 episodes, 150. I'm not saying we're going to stop there. I'm just saying, I feel like that's okay, they went a couple years, they talked about a lot of stuff. That's something good we can always look back and listen to. You know what I mean? Doesn't overstay its welcome either. What do you think?
It's so hard because I think that's a respectable number, but then also podcasts, so many people have just hundreds and hundreds of episodes. But then again, also maybe they upload every day or something like that. But yeah, it's kind of like when you're trying to figure out, here's an alternative question, like how many years married is a respectable number of years to be married? And you would say, well, forever. So like a podcast would be like the same way, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think it really just boils down to, in my opinion, like, if you know you need to quit, then quit. Like I've always kind of stood on a pretty tall soapbox on this idea of know when to quit, if you need to. So, and I mean this usually like in like entertainment in general. So yeah. So for example, like television shows, there's so many television shows who fall victim to, like, they're successful, so they continue, but then quality diminishes. And then when you look back on a television show, you're like, this was really good the first few seasons, and then it got kind of crappy at the end, Like, and I understand the desire to continue. I mean, if it's successful, of course you want to continue. Like, I get it. And there's exceptions to the rule. But even in the podcast space, there's podcasts that I listen to that I used to listen to that are still running, that are over 10 years old, which is pretty old for a podcast. And it's the one I'm thinking of. I won't name the name, but like it's kind of stale. Like it's just kind of the same stuff over and over and over again. And if you don't evolve, then be done.
Also, maybe it becomes like a comfort podcast. You're like, every year for 10 years, I've been listening to this like group of people or whatever chat about Lord knows what. And now I just do it out of comfort. It's my comfort podcast or something. Or maybe not. I don't know which podcast you're thinking of. Maybe it is just like, oh man, you guys need to stop. But,
right. Well, but yeah, but I get it. Yeah. I mean, you listen to something for so long or watch something for so long, it does become a comfort. And once again, like, let's face it, even if you and I were doing this, it was 10 years later, it was extremely successful. Even if it got kind of like dry, we'd still go if it's successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of the pot calling the kettle black, but it's just some food for thought. I know you never saw this. I think you've only seen an episode or two, and I think they were with me. I think a great example of a television show that knew when to quit and was good from beginning to end was Breaking Bad. I know you didn't see the whole thing, but that show was so successful, as you know, but it was so successful to where they could have kept going, but the writer, can't think what his name is right now, Vince something. Anyway,
Vaughn. The actor.
It was definitely not Vince Vaughn of Fred Claus fame. But remember that movie, by the way, Fred Claus?
I never watched Fred Claus. I remember when it came out.
I remember watching it and thinking it was, well, it's a Christmas movie. That's all I remember. But anyway, so he had a story to tell, and he told it, and then it needed to end, right? Like, and now when you look back at a show like that, it'll always be one of the greats, and I think one reason its reputation won't be affected at all because it ended when it needed to end. People were left wanting more, and it was left that way because it just ended how it needed to end, and that's what I love about it. There's so many other things that they just kind of go on a little too long, and it's like, okay, not that you won't go back and watch it again, but there's always that little blemish, you know?
Yeah, you want to not give too much to the point where everyone, like your audience, is tired and it's like, okay, I'm done. You want to leave them wanting more, kind of like The Perfect Date.
The Perfect Date.
That was definitely a segue.
Okay, yeah.
It's February, the month of love, Alex.
It is the month of love, and we've hinted at this before. If you're familiar with Weston and I outside of the podcast, there is a little bit of a backstory behind us online, where, well, what is it? You're mom and I'm dad, but we're not married. We're just dating.
So we're not dating IRL. Alex is happily in a different relationship. We do have a sort of persona dating thing. My Magic Man Mo character on my gaming channel, and then Alex just goes by Alex on when he like streams to like Twitch, which I don't know if you do that anymore or not. As of recording this, I don't know if you've picked that back up or not, but you stopped for a while. But anyway, we were streaming games together, and the idea was that we're like dating. And every time we stream together as a collaboration, it was like, oh, it was us going on a date. I have this other persona called Magic Mama. So I play like as this like mom figure when I'm playing like as a female in a video game. It's just for goofs and gabs. So like I'm Mama Mo and Alex is Papa Alex or whatever they call you. So they're like the dad, right. I'm the mom. Our viewing audience, the chat, they are the children. But it's funny because it's kind of like a How I Met Your Mother situation. That's the way I see it. Like we're dating, but eventually we're supposed to be the parents, right? We're going to be together, but we're not there yet. But we actually are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I love how I just really like how much our audience engages with it too. Like, because like we'll get bleed over fans on one stream or the other because him and I obviously stream separately too. Like I'll do my Jam and Chat show. And I'll have like some of his audience. Well, now it's kind of both sides, but they came from you originally. They'll come over to mine and say, "Hey, Dad," you know. I love it because it really throws my audience through a loop. Who's not familiar with the game streams? They're thinking, "Who is this creepy person calling me Dad?" I love it.
Yeah, without any context, someone coming into chat calling you like daddy or papa or something just weird like that. It's like, oh, that's strange. Someone get this guy out of here. Ban them.
It's like no, literally, actually, I'm their dad.
It's like, no, actually.
Right. But yeah, it is. It's February. It's the love month. Valentine's Day's just around the corner.
Yeah, just like a couple weeks away.
Yeah, it's
or a little over 1 week, really.
Valentine's Day is the time for couples to have an extra excuse to celebrate, and for people who are single, usually it's kind of tough. I've had plenty of those
Singles
years.
Awareness Day, as single people call Valentine's Day.
Singles Awareness. I like that. I
definitely think they still do that. There was a big thing on Twitter years ago. Singles Awareness Day. # Singles Awareness Day.
I had plenty, and I mean plenty. I had my fair share of single Valentine's Days. I'm trying to remember if usually I would do something like extra special. Like, or if I would do... usually what I would do on those days, I don't know if you would do something during single Valentine's Days, but like I would usually do something to kind of... Not that I was going to spiral or anything, but I wanted to do something different to kind of just enjoy my night more. Like I'd sit down and play it, really just sink into a game or something, or I would... You know what I'm saying? Like, did you ever do anything different or on Valentine's days.
Load up a dating simulator, drink some wine, eat some pizza, and cry into the night. No.
Okay, so you spiral.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I spiral hard. No, usually, no, like, I don't think I'd do anything different. Like, maybe I would just work that day, so I'd be at work, or...
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'd ever do anything special. It's just another day.
I would say the saddest Valentine's Day I ever had when I was single was one time. It was only, like, nothing about it was super sad, except I ordered a pizza from... I think it was for Pizza Hut. Maybe I can't remember, but it was heart-shaped. And I didn't know it was going to be heart-shaped. So I'm just going to... So this was kind of like a drown my sorrows of just bread and cheese. And then I get a pizza. It's like, of course, you're reminding me of love. It was a heart-shaped pizza, and I ate it by myself.
My one true love,
That's like
Pizza Hut. You'll never leave me.
I do love me some pizza.
Which, like, that works like double in your favor since you once upon a time worked at a Pizza Hut.
Yes, it is double in my favor. Yeah, I do. I am a little partial to Pizza Hut.
It's like Pizza Hut's like, oh, are you freshly single, Alex? Here's a heart-shaped pizza. Come back, baby. Smooch.
Come back. We need a shift manager. Come back. Kissy, kissy. Yeah, it's but yeah, there's been some fun. You know, now I think about it, I don't think I've ever been on, like, while in a relationship, I don't think I've ever been on a date on Valentine's Day either. Like, I've never done an actual Valentine's Day date.
You haven't? Why not?
I don't. Well, because usually timing. You know, I worked retail for a lot of my 20s, so if I were in a relationship, usually it would happen, like, on a random Tuesday that was, like, 4 days after. You know, it was pretty rare that it was, I think, on the day. So... But there was always a celebration, I guess, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, I don't. Depending on how far back, because my stretches of being single have been long and tough. But I don't remember what I used to do on Valentine's days forever ago. More recently, like in recent years, if I've ever been out with someone, I've never successfully managed to stay in a relationship to Valentine's Day, so I haven't had to worry about that. So the last relationship I had that actually existed over Valentine's Day, I think we would go out because I remember doing this. I dressed up. We went out to like a fancy restaurant and ate, and like I don't remember if we saw a movie or I don't remember what we did. That one was a long time ago. Yeah, no, most of my relationships are miserably failed by Valentine's Day.
No. Well, I will say...
Now that I think about it, that's kind of funny to me.
It's... I think my favorite, actually... The favorite thing I've ever done for Valentine's Day probably shoots back to as far as you're thinking about. This was a girlfriend from a very long time ago. And I remember... I think it was our second, because I feel like our first one we probably just went to dinner. So I remember I wanted to do something different on our second Valentine's Day, and I'm still proud of this even now, especially for me being as young as I was. So what I did was I told her, "Hey, I'll pick you up at this time. Dress up. We're gonna go to this fancy restaurant. Blah blah blah." Right. So I go to pick her up, and then like when she gets in the car, we talk and say, "Oh shoot, I forgot my wallet. I got to go back to my house." So we go back to my house, and she comes in with me, and I have dinner and a waiter also presenting food set up like a fancy restaurant in the house.
Oh.
And actually, our good friend Justin was the waiter and the cook, if I do recall. So, which was hilarious. I wonder if he remembers that. Cause it was
I think
so long
I
ago.
vaguely remember this happening. I wasn't there, obviously, but I think I remember this happening. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still to this day, like, proud of this more than any other Valentine's Day I have. And, yeah, so, like, she had a weird thing for fake flowers. So, like, okay, perfect. So I just, like, the week before bought a bunch of fake flowers, threw them everywhere, made it look nice. We had, like, jazzy music playing on, like, a CD player, because we still had plenty of CD players in the house at that point. And, yeah, and then it was a 3-course meal. So we had our own little space, and she loved it. I remember it was really fun. He made the main course, I think, was like spaghetti and meatballs. And then I know the dessert was chocolate-covered strawberries, which are really good. I can't remember that.
Ooh.
I think it was a salad. Probably was the first thing, but yeah, that was a ton of fun. And it's funny because really my only memories of it now are just how like it was one of those moments where it's like, yes, I nailed it because you really liked it.
Also, just shout out to Justin for being a giga Chad for being a
honestly,
waiter at
yes.
Cooking for that. Holy crap!
Yeah. I thanked him so much even at that time. Like, thank you, dude. Like, thank you. He's like, I love doing this stuff because he just discovered that he was really into cooking at that point.
Yeah.
So I remember that was like a great way for him to cook and do some of that. Like, yeah, that was super fun. So, yeah.
And you get
no home dinners.
It's a lot more intimate that way because then you're like just focused on each other, right? Like you and your date, you're not like being distracted by whatever the heck else is going on around you or whatever. I've never had a fancy at-home dinner date. All my dates involve going out.
Yeah, sure. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. Because even like, because let's face it, you can't, in terms of the fanciness, you can't really, it's going to be really difficult to match that at home because it ends up being more about the thought than anything. Because I think it can be equally romantic going out to a fancy restaurant. You know, like the atmosphere is perfect. You're dressed up, especially if you don't do that like a lot. Like it makes it really extra special. Do you have an opinion about? Because this is kind of not controversial, but like an argument people will get into a lot of the time is like celebrating Valentine's Day because there's a few different takes on it. Like there's people who will say, you know, it's Valentine's Day, like it's just a big marketing ploy. It's all, you know, blah blah blah, all this stuff just to get people to buy a bunch of stuff.
Pretty, I mean,
okay, which it is, okay. But then there's the people who also say like, you know, that's just like on a more emotional side. They'll say, you know, you shouldn't just be celebrating Valentine's Day like just because it's Valentine's Day. That should happen anytime, you know. And then I'm thinking I'm kind of a centrist with this because I think what's wrong with celebrating your romance multiple times throughout the year, but still making it a little extra special on that holiday? Like what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Right.
I've just heard people have strong opinions about that. Like, well, you know, it should be happening anytime, not just one day a year. The husband goes out and buys flowers. It's like, well, that's your problem.
Right. I think, yeah, that actually is their problem.
You know what I mean?
I think if the only one time a year you're having a nice date out is on Valentine's Day, one of a couple of things is possible. And I'm not calling anyone out if I offend anyone here because I don't know how people date. But you have one of a couple of problems. One, your man or woman is not taking you out nearly enough. Do it more often. You know what I mean? Valentine's Day can be the most special one. That's fine. But if it's the one time you're going out is on Valentine's Day, it's like, okay, we can amp up the quantity here. Or two, you're already in a long-standing relationship with 5 kids and there's just no time. You know what I mean? Right. So like Valentine's Day is that's it, you know? But I kind of see it sense. As far as my opinion of it, it's kind of like, I feel like we talked about this a little bit on one of the Christmas episodes, one of the December Christmas episodes, where I mentioned that Christmas is very commercialized. There's a lot of, you know, gift buying and there's a lot of advertising and blah, 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 blah. But it's such a nice season where everyone's in the same mindset, in the same mood, in the same like ambience. Same thing with Valentine's Day. Like you've got heart-shaped stuff everywhere. Everyone's doing like, I don't know, romance songs. Like it's a seasonal thing where in that time you're kind of being put into this atmosphere, this mood to be a little extra romantic. And I just say, why not take advantage of that and just go with it, you know, have a romantic night out. Like, you know, like you were saying, working retail, maybe not on Valentine's Day if you can't pull that off, but it's kind of like a season, you know, maybe that week or sometime around it, you know, do something special because why not? It's an extra excuse, I think, to just celebrate your romance more. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking advantage of that time, especially if you're already able to take advantage of that time during other times. But yeah, you had a great point too, like with, you know, long-term established couples with 5 kids not having time. I mean, you know, if you can only do it once a year, you can only do it once a year, and that's totally okay too. So, yeah, I think the only thing that I always kind of
try to live by is I try to avoid the tropes. In fact, I might be wrong in this, but more Valentine's Days than not, I have not given Steph, co-star of the Two Piece Podcast.
Ooh, she's got a title.
I've not given her flowers on Valentine's Day, for example. Like no flowers, no chocolates, because that's just kind of one little rule that I personally live by. I don't have a strong opinion about doing flowers or chocolates, but I'm thinking it's expected. We do have the time to celebrate more than once a year, so she gets flowers at other times during the year where she least expected a little bit, keeps her on her toes, and we do other things instead, just to make it more special, So yeah, it might sound kind of weird, but yeah, she's rarely gotten flowers on Valentine's Day.
Do you think she wants flowers on Valentine's Day?
No, Steph is
okay.
I mean, she wouldn't. I mean, okay, she wouldn't say no to them,
right?
But
okay.
So, you know what I mean. But it's one of those things where, like, she does receive flowers quite a bit throughout the year, and she never knows when they're coming, and that's kind of a fun thing that we do now because it's completely random, and she loves surprises, at least those kinds of surprises, and so yeah, I like to keep it different on Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, we usually do things we haven't done before. So, like, for example, not to go through another experience, but this is another fun one. So last Valentine's Day, so a year ago, we did another at-home thing. Well, this is the first time her and I did something at home. But I had stations set up at the house. So I had a wine,
Okay.
So I ordered this, like, nice wine tasting kit with food complements as well as music to complement it as well. So, or food pairings and music pairings. So we did wine tasting together, and it was technically not my first time wine tasting. It was my second, and I think it was her second too. But it was our first time doing the food pairing and the music pairing as well.
Yeah.
So we had that, and then she loves crafts, so I also had like a crafting station for like we made like these little wood craft things that she loves, and I think I had another one too. I can't remember what that other one was now, but yeah, just had little stations set up, and she loved that, and it was different. I don't just set up stations for us to do things in my house on a regular Wednesday.
No, that's not just a weekly thing for you, just to have stations.
No, it's not. So yeah, but yeah, so that's why. That's kind of what we end up celebrating Valentine's Day as a time to do something that we usually wouldn't do, and that works for us at least. So,
and that actually sounds really fun and clever because that really is going out of your way. You have to set up those stations. I'm more lazy than that. It's like we can go somewhere and do a thing that we've never done or eaten at a place we've never eaten at, like that kind of thing. But yeah, the whole station thing that requires like a lot of setup and actual work. And I'm not saying I would like never do a setup thing of some kind. I just mean, again, never survived a Valentine's Day date, but in general, it's like, I like to use dates as an excuse to do things that I haven't done before with someone else, or eat at a place that either I haven't been in a long time or haven't been at before. So I kind of like the idea of using dates to do things I haven't done before. I like that.
Being introverted, both of us, I think you can probably agree, like dates are a great excuse in general, any kind of date, not just Valentine's Day. Dates are a great way to step out of that comfort zone and do other things in general. Because, you already have this agreement that you're interested in learning more about each other and seeing where it may lead, and putting yourselves in situations that like aren't just a movie, like going out, maybe you're painting and drinking wine, or you're axe throwing, or whatever you may be doing, right? There's all kinds of fun things you can do now. That's a great way to do those new things anyway. It doesn't have to be like in a committed relationship either.
I still default to this. Is actually, and maybe this is probably bad. Maybe I'm lazy. I still default to movie dates, especially early on. Dinner, movie, and then usually I try to plan dessert after, so that you're not just like dinner, movie, and then go home or whatever. Because I feel like a movie's not a good way to end a date, but I like using the like go out for dessert or something as a way to talk about the movie, each other, what we thought, that kind of thing. What do you think of movie dates? Are they like cliche, bad, good?
Well, yeah, I was going to say you said you definitely wouldn't want to end on one. It's like, and I would say I definitely wouldn't want to start on a movie date. My personal opinion is usually no movies for a while.
Okay.
But by for a while, I mean, like, if it's like date number 3 or 4 and things are going well, let's go see a movie. And I think you know what I'm going to say. It's like, as long as you do dinner before the movie, though, that's good. Because you have the time to kind of make that initial connection. I feel like there's just not enough time to make a strong connection. Like when you meet up, maybe you hug or shake hands, whatever you do on a first date.
Elbow
right?
bump.
And then you right, elbow bump, exactly. And then you're in line, right? So you might talk a little bit when you're in line, get your tickets or whatever you're doing, and then you go sit down and then you don't talk, you know? Like, I feel like those initial moments, like those first impressions are the best time to do dinner. And then after that, if you do a movie afterwards, that makes sense. I still avoid the movie the first couple. I'm saying this like I'm a dating expert. Listen, guys, I'm not. I'm in a relationship, a committed relationship, but I'm not a dating expert.
He's currently in a not failed relationship. That's as big an expert as you need right there. I mean.
But trust me, most of my 20s were pretty dry in the dating scene, and that's okay. But anyway, but that being said, yeah, like, for example, with Steph, our first movie was almost a year into it. Literally, our first going out to a movie. Now, we might be a weird exception to... Well, actually, you know what? It was COVID, so that's totally different anyway. So forget that.
Actually, that's a good point.
That was COVID. We met a little bit before COVID started. But anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I'm not... Some people are super against it, like, no, don't do it. You know, that's the worst idea. I don't think it is, as long as you have talking and connection opportunities prior to the movie. Honestly, I would even give it a pass if you were picking them up and maybe you had to drive for a while. You know, like you had to drive for a while and you were talking a little bit. You had, you're seeing things as you drive, and then you get there. Then you go see the movie, and then if you have dinner after, even that's good, because then if you go to dinner after, you already have a small established connection prior. You watch the movie, and then you have something to talk about. You can talk about the movie, and then that can lead to other things. So I see it working on a first date for sure.
That's our verdict. Movie, only a good idea if the bulk of the date isn't the movie.
Yes, correct. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It's like an additive. It's a seasoning to your date. It's a point to have a topic to talk about together. Yeah,
because sometimes you might need that, especially if you don't know, because a part of conversing with somebody is, especially somebody like you want to continue to have a conversation with, is that you kind of need to know kind of who they are, how they respond, right? And that could kind of, and if you don't know what kind of topics they'll be interested in yet, that's a great automatic mutual interest that you would have. So it makes complete sense to do that. I just had a thought, and I started talking about the mutual interest, and now I forgot. Verdict.
I had a thought.
What was I going to say?
I have a secondary verdict, but I will say, before I move on to my second verdict, is that I did have a movie date that this date said, jokingly, that it was like the worst date ever, because the movie we went and saw, we both did not like, we hated. But then when I took her out to dessert afterward, like, that's what we ranted about the entire time.
Yeah.
For like, I don't know, we had like ice cream, and then we were sitting there talking while we ate ice cream, and then beyond the ice, I think it was like somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour after this movie, ranting about it and just other stuff. So maybe even watch a bad movie just to like intentionally create conflict.
That makes total sense. Because you still had that really strong, and in this case, probably a little bit passionate mutual interest there.
I will say, I am going to suggest that, and then also caution everybody, still single. So bear in mind.
So here's what I was going to ask you. This might be the same verdict you were going to kind of go down, but going back to your house or place.
Yeah.
Were you going that direction?
No,
you weren't.
I mean, I guess you can say kinda. My second verdict was more of a joke, but I'll get back to it.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, and I don't mean going back to your place and then having I'm not talking like anything super physical. I just simply mean like when is it, in your opinion, appropriate to bring, a date? If a date is going well, or like somebody you're dating is going well, how many dates does it need to be for it to be, you think, appropriate for you to invite them over to your house or vice versa?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that really depends. Again, this is something that depends. Dating just depends on who you're dating. But
yeah,
it just kind of depends how really well the first date went. If it was like a smashing success, it might be literally then or the next one, right? Like if you hit it off just like you connected immediately. But if it's kind of like a good date, but like, not that smashing success, not a failure, not remotely failure, but, just kind of like good, it might be a couple. I don't know. I don't think it would be crazy long. Like if you get, I don't know what the limit is. If you get like arbitrary number here, 5 dates in, and you're like, hey, can I come over there? Or you come over here or whatever, to do a thing, not just a hangout or whatever, but like there's some involvement with going to someone's place, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
That might be like a red flag. Like, I don't think this is going as well for the other person as I'm hoping it is for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's
5 times is a lot.
5 times is a lot, and that's if it's a hard no. If there's something else going on, obviously, if they're like, well, I'm not comfortable yet because XYZ, I don't know, maybe they've had a bad experience or Lord knows what, then that's different. But obviously, if you get a few to several in and it's like, hard no, it might not be going so good.
Right, like, and why are you wasting your time at this point?
Right.
Like, because the whole point of dating, at least I'm assuming for most people, is with the intent to grow a relationship with somebody. So, and find a companion in the long term, at least, right? So, I mean, like, and if you're not going towards that, I mean, that's a big part. You can't be in a committed relationship and never, at least I don't think so, be in each other's houses unless it's like some weird long distance thing. But,
right, which I guess isn't even all that weird because, like, with the pandemic, with people not traveling, or with everyone spending so much time online, the long-distance thing isn't super weird, and I don't know how common or uncommon it is, but, I mean, that's definitely a factor. But even then, if it's long-distance, I think the ultimate goal is, well, eventually you got to meet up. Like, that's always the ultimate eventual goal. It's like to be together, unless you're just doing some kind of casual thing and you're just trying to, I don't know, score some free dinner dates or something. I don't know, but if if it's dating for a relationship, that's the ultimate goal.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that though too. It really just kind of is dependent on the kind of personalities at play. Some people like to take things slow, even if it's going really well.
Yeah,
and not
fair.
bring anybody over. So like just to, in fact, another little. Anecdote here is like, I mean, I definitely took things slow in terms of coming over.
Yeah.
Just because you could, and like, so I can speak to that. It's just, you want to make sure that everything's good. And I was able to read the other person well enough to understand the other person. Her name's Steph. I already said it like 6 times to read, and she's public on my like channel. So like, it's not like a secret, but, I was able to read her enough to like know that she's interested too. And I think she kind of respects the fact that I'm taking it slow with that, and I don't want to push it. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, especially like kind of being, or really it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a woman. It could be a man too. But it can be, you never know what you're going into. In some ways, they're still a stranger if it's too early. You might know some things about them, but you still learn about people years after you know them. So especially if it's that early, you still never know what you could be walking into. So
that's very
true. You
true.
definitely want to make sure you have that established trust. But I was going to ask you, what was your verdict/joke?
Second verdict, everybody, stations. Do the stations. It sounds like an amazing idea. Take that with you.
Thank you. I'm glad you like that idea. My issue now is that I don't know what I'm going to do
stations
this year. More stations, just
gotta
different
do more
stuff.
Stations, different stuff.
More stations.
More.
I guess I'll have to.
I don't know what they're going to be yet. I saw an advertisement once. This is completely aside, but then we got to move on. I saw an advertisement once for like it's like a box you can order online, and they send you a bunch of clues, and you have to solve a mystery together with like, it can be a friend or a wife or a girlfriend or a husband, whatever. I've seen an advertisement for something like that. That would be maybe fun if you're kind of into the crime solving thing.
Yeah, I heard about that. I actually had a friend actually, our friend Keelan, you met him when you came down here. He actually did that with his girlfriend at the time, and I guess it was really successful. Like, it was really fun. So
it looks like it would be. I mean, it looks like it would be with multiple people. I'm not doing it on my own, but
well, yeah, you don't want to do. I mean, you could, but
I could, but it'd be fun with people to solve the mystery together.
Oh, absolutely.
So, final verdict: stations. No, that's all I got for this topic.
Stations and movies.
I think it's time that we moved on to our game. I wonder what it could be. Alex already knows.
I'm guessing it's Never Would You Rather Ever.
Yep, that's what it is. Yep, you nailed it.
Cool.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by A Hasty Podcast, my own personal podcast talking about life, games, media, and sometimes featuring guests. Look for it on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by my music. I'm a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. Most of my songs tell stories, some real, some not, but all of them speak to an experience that we all share, the human condition. Search my name, Alex Duquette, on any streaming platform. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Never Have I Ever Oprah edition, everybody.
Well, hold on. That makes it sound like these are just Never Have I Ever questions about Oprah.
Actually, it does. I don't remember how I worded it last time.
Never have I ever thought about Oprah while taking a shower. Or whatever.
Well, okay, I got to put a finger down.
That was a weird one.
That's So listen, everybody.
Sometimes I don't think before I speak.
This is the third part of us going through this list of Oprah's top 100 Never Have I Ever questions, all right? I know that's a lot of parts. And I know last week we did a gaming one because Alex was sure that I would not keep doing this. But I am dedicated to getting through these 100 questions. And it's February, so Never Have I Ever is a good topic. I think it's a good game to play with, actually, like a loved one or a date or something like that, because it brings up some questions. You can tell some stories, help get to know one another. And it's February, so it's the month of love. So it's kind of like a dating game.
It totally fits. And I will say too, like, we can kind of just remember this. Excuse me, sorry, I'm like getting all burpy. I'm sorry.
I was doing that
but we
earlier
can
on
think
coffee,
of this
I
as
get
like
it.
we could do consider this as like an era, right? Like, or like almost like not a season, but like a chunk of episodes. There's a name for it. An arc. Yeah, it's the Never Have I Ever arc at the beginning of 2023.
Yeah, at the end of 2022. No, when did we start? It's February now. Yeah, the beginning of 2023. I don't know what month it is. Yeah, and we're just one more time to explain it in case you guys haven't heard the explanation before. We're going to start with 10 fingers up. I'm going to keep reading from Oprah's list of 100. We left off. We had just finished number 42, so we'll be starting with number 43. And I'm going to read off a statement. And if we've done that thing, we got to put a finger down. Whoever loses all their fingers loses the game and has to write a fun little haiku about the other person.
Yep. That was by far your quickest, like most brief, but still like
I'm getting really good.
Well-worded.
I'm getting really good at the explanations, yeah. By the time we get through this list, I'll be a master of explaining Never Have I Ever, and then we'll never do it again.
Yeah, that'll be it. That's it. We got to finish up this arc all at once, honestly. We'll do it next week, too, if we need to. Just knock it out.
Maybe. We'll see. Tune in next week, the special Valentine's episode.
Who knows?
Who knows? Anything's possible.
By the way, though, if you're listening right now, which of course you are because you can hear our voices, it will be a special episode next week.
Yes, we have a very special Valentine's Day episode. Tune in next week. But in the meantime, fingers up. We're starting with 10 of them. I'm going to start reading off. Number 43. Never have I ever cursed in a place of worship. I have absolutely cursed in a place of worship.
Oh.
No place is sacred to my tongue.
Of course not. I'm going to assume... I'm going to actually still put a finger down, too. But I don't remember, but I know... Okay, so like, like a lot of kids in school, you'd go to like Wednesday night youth group. Like that was a pretty common thing for a lot of kids.
Sure.
that was always more laid back, and I think during that age, I was kind of saying some naughty words. So I bet you around friends on the premises of the church, I did say some bad words. So I'm just going to be as honest as I can and put a finger down, too.
And of course, this isn't counting, like, if you're reading out of the Bible and it says, like, hell in it or whatever. That's not counting that if it's
Correct.
out of the Bible or whatever. It's a
Right.
place of worship. So whatever, if it's in the text or on a wall, if I'm in a Buddhist temple or something. No, I
Right.
have completely unrestricted. My mouth just goes. I'll say whatever comes to my mind. So
Now, I do love shout out to Culver's. I worship Culver's. It's my favorite fast food place.
it's a place
okay?
of worship.
And I've sworn there before. So, and I do worship there.
All hail the holy curds.
Oh, yes, I was going to say that. Oh, those cheese curds. Mm.
Now I kind of want some Culver's, and I live 3 blocks from one. So
Yeah, you got to go, man.
next up, we've both got a
Yum.
finger down on that. Never have I ever snooped through someone's stuff. That one's kind of vague.
That is vague, but I can honestly say I don't think I've looked through like somebody's things when I've been asked to, like, hey, get this for me.
Yeah,
I've never snooped through somebody's stuff. I'd get too guilty.
Yeah, I think if the idea is like snooping through someone's stuff is like intentionally going through things when you know they wouldn't want you to. Would that be
Exactly,
snooping?
yeah.
Because I've been through people's stuff casually, but like not in a way that they would disagree with, if you know what I mean. Like if I'm over at someone's house and I'm like, oh, what's in this drawer? That's not snooping, right?
Well, hold on a second. I don't know. Because I was about to make a joke. I thought you were going to say, yeah, I'm just kind of like, there's a photo album on the table. I'm kind of look at it. But, and then I was going to make a joke and say, yeah, but if you're going through their drawers or their cabinets.
I don't think I've even been through someone's drawers. I think I've opened, well, no, I guess if you have to open a door, like I've opened cabinets, but that's usually because like I've been asked to find something. So that's fair.
Well, if you're in the kitchen, it's free game, I think.
Okay. Because that's the only time I would
so
have been through
kitchen's free
drawers,
game.
is like in a kitchen.
So like, cause like maybe you're like, oh, hey, where's the silverware? Or, well, hold on. Once again, that changes things. Are you looking for a cup or silverware, or are you just like, hey, what's in here?
Yeah, I think I'm always looking for something because
If you're
otherwise,
looking for something, it's not snooping.
right? Unless you're looking for dirt because you're looking for blackmail or something. Then it's snooping again.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely snooping. Yeah, I've been in situations where. So yeah, I will first of all to clarify. I think if you're looking for something like and it's in the kitchen, then I think you're okay. Don't have to put a finger down.
All right.
But I was gonna say. I lost it. Dang, I'm losing stuff tonight. What's wrong with me?
You're falling apart on me, Alex. You're catching my dementia.
I know I'm catching it too quickly. I
think,
can't remember. I know that I haven't. Oh, I was going to say this. I remember now. If I'm like standing at somebody's desk, like say I'm at someone's desk in their home, and I see some like in the corner of my eye, I see some like looks like important documents, maybe tax stuff or something with money or something that's usually kept private unless they want to make it public. And I know that it's there. I don't continue to look. I look away. I walk away.
I think we're both just polite people, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go shuffling through papers if it looked like it was someone's business.
Because it could be as simple as, and I've been in these situations before at previous places I've worked, like I'd see somebody's paycheck, just, this is kind of a different thing, but, the idea within a professional workplace is that you don't talk about pay. You don't do that, right? That's private. That's to you. You don't want to have any, you don't want to have any sort of conflict of interests or any sort of issues there. So that being said, I've seen a couple like pay stubs. And once again, you could blame the employee for leaving their pay stub out.
Right.
It's like it's public. Someone's going to see it. But still, like if you're polite and I always like I've seen that once or twice, and I just go, okay, I know that's a pay stub. I can recognize it. I'm just going to walk away. I don't need to see this. What good is this going to do for me? Nothing. I'm not making that money, whether it's more or less. It doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything good for me. So, yeah, that's just another example I was thinking of.
Yeah. No, I keep all my employees' pay stubs. in a little secret folder. No.
I was going to say, I keep all my employees' pay.
I keep all their pay. I cash their checks. They haven't been paid.
Oh, I love it.
Never have I ever tried marijuana. I have to lower a finger on this one, actually.
Really?
I have. It's not for me, by the way. If you ask me, I don't recommend it. I've never smoked anything before. I tried to smoke marijuana. That just turned into a nightmare. And
well,
I tried an edible
okay.
once, and that's how I discovered, nah, not for me. Not for me.
Not for you.
No.
Well, I also have once.
Yeah?
And I can also 100% say, not for me. Will never happen again. For me, it was a very, I don't know about your situation, but mine was, it was a controlled environment. I was with friends, and I bet if you thought about it just for a second, you can know which friends. And I tried it. It was like, hey, let's just try it. If you're not into it, that's fine. There weren't a lot of people because some people can get paranoid,
Right.
You know. And for me, what happened, I remember just feeling really hyper-focused on everything, and I could remember every thought. I was talking to somebody in the room, and then somebody behind me was talking to somebody else, and I could hear both conversations, full blast, and I could remember everything, and I thought, this is too stressful for me. I don't want to do this anymore. So
It gave you, anxiety.
I got it, which is a thing. That happens to some people.
Yeah. I've read up on what the effects can be, throughout the years. I was at a point where it was legal, so I was like, well, I'm with people I know. Sure, give it a shot.
Yeah.
And with smoking it, I didn't know how to smoke, so I was too hyper fixated on that. I don't know if I ever caught a buzz on that or not. I have no idea. I don't think I did. If I did, it was probably just all in my head. And in the edible, I just zoned out. I couldn't focus on anything. I nothing around me existed. I was just staring at a wall or something for a little bit.
Right.
And when I finally kind of came out of that, I'm like, yeah, no, that didn't feel particularly nice. That didn't really do anything for me. I think I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of my verdict on it too. It's like, nope, not for me.
I'll stick to my my crippling caffeine addiction instead.
Yeah, it's all a drug.
It is. So
It's
just to
just
be
different.
clear, when I mentioned drugs last episode, and that's what went wrong with me, it is not. It was it was not that. Just to be clear, no.
Right.
For anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the last episode. What are you doing? Skipping episodes? You're crazy.
Yeah, don't be like that.
Never have I ever gone 24 hours without showering. See, I've absolutely done that.
Oh, I've done that too, for sure. Yeah.
You were on our camping trip, right? None of us showered on that until we got done camping, right? Yes,
I was there. They had showers.
They had
but
a
I don't
shower.
think I ever used it.
Right. They had a shower building, but we were tent camping, and the showers were on the other side of the campground, and we just didn't go over there. We could have drove, I guess, because it would have been a hike to the shower building from where we were camping. I guess we could have drove over there, but we just kind of didn't. We just kind of roughed it for 2 nights. Did we stayed 1 night or 2 nights, something like that. And
I think it was more than 1 night. That was fun.
It was fun. Probably should have done the shower house. Probably should have, but.
Well, I think we all stunk together, so it was okay.
We were just a moving group of stinky people. But even
we created new stink together.
We created a new stink, the stink of friendship.
That's right.
Even without camping, though, I've definitely gone more than a day without showering. If I've just been at home and I've not done anything, and I don't sweat really too bad, so I don't stink if I don't do anything. If I feel like I stink, I'll shower.
Yeah.
But if I'm working a lot, if I'm
yeah.
working, I'm showering every day. But if it's I got a weekend to myself and I skip a shower or something, I've absolutely done that too.
I just made a connection, and I don't know what this means, but the only times I really go 24 hours or a little bit more without a shower is when I'm with my family. Visiting my family.
Because you don't want to use their shower?
And I don't know if... No, it has nothing to do with that, because I have used their shower numerous times. But usually if I'm with them for, if I visit my family, my closest family lives a little less than 2 hours away. So that usually means I'm going to be staying there overnight. I don't want to make a trek in one... Usually I don't do a trek in one day.
Sure.
And it's one of those things where it's like it's a close enough drive still to where I'll go there. I don't want to take the time to take a shower. I want to be with my family. So I'll go there, I'll stay the night, be there the next day for a while, and then leave, and then I'll just shower when I get home. But usually that ends up being more than 24 hours. Just because it's like, I don't want to waste that time doing that. I'm not going to see anybody else. It's just my family. Like, it's not like I'm not going to like an interview.
Yeah.
You know? So
you can stink for your family.
Yeah, I just made that connection. Yeah, I can. Yeah. Plus, we're family, so we probably all have a similar stink.
The stink of family. We got the stink of friendship,
The stink of
of family.
I like it.
Never have I ever had to take a walk of shame. I assume they mean. The dirty deed walk of shame is what I think they're talking about.
I hate to say this because maybe this is just very backwards of me to think this day and age, but I just think of the female like walk of shame. Like, I know it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah,
but
because that's like
I do picture like.
Well, because that's very. Yeah, no, you're right. That's very sexist or something. And not that I'm saying you are, but it's that view where if it's the guy, it's like triumphant, or if it's the girl, it's like, oh, she's got like messed up makeup, she's carrying her heels in her hands, like a mess. Basically, is the stigma. Right.
Exactly. That is not the best way to think about it, because either way, it's not just one gender who has that issue, but that's how it's usually portrayed in the movies and stuff. But I will say, either way, I've never done like a walk of shame. That any time something like that may have happened in my life, that there's no shame.
Right.
In it,
yeah, the shame usually comes from like you hooked up with someone that you would not have hooked up with because you were at a bar and drunk, and you woke up sober and you're like, oh God, and you had to make an escape or something. That's the walk of shame. I've not done that either.
Yes.
So if I'm with somebody,
I picture you doing that.
What, a walk of shame?
Or like your makeup's messed up. Oh. You're wearing the same clothes from yesterday. You got to get to school. Got to get to class.
If it weren't for the fact that I was just an absolute slob just every day, people would notice the messed up makeup. But my makeup's always messed up, so no one ever questions it.
Oh, goodness.
Never have I ever gone on a solo vacation. Now, here's the thing. I kind of have, in the sense that, like here recently when I went to meet you. Now, I spent the time there with you, but the kind of road trip in between, because it was like a freaking 12-hour drive or whatever, 10 hours, whatever it was.
Not even close. It was like 6.5.
Was it 6.5? I might be combining the trip to Justin's wedding. I might be combining that in my head, because I think that was 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a super long drive.
That was a much longer drive. So I might be combining that in my head. It's like a 6-hour drive or whatever. So in a weird way, I kind of road tripped on my own, but the vacation part itself, I wasn't alone. So I don't know if I count that. Maybe not.
I would say probably not, because it's really more of a destination thing. When I think of a solo vacation, I think of you're going somewhere alone. And then you get there and you're still kind of alone. Maybe you're meeting local people or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I've ever done it. Because I've taken plenty of drives by myself to go somewhere and visit a friend or family or whatever, but that's kind of different. So I don't think I ever have. It sounds fun. I'd like to try that, but I'm also nervous about it.
Right. It would be fun. It would be fun to enjoy my own experience in some random place.
I don't know anybody who's done that who has said it's been a poor experience.
Because you're on your own time scale then, right? You're not like hurrying for someone else. You're not going to do something that someone else wanted to do, but you didn't. You're not conflicted with anyone. It's just you and your vacation. You do you.
Yeah. I think that sounds good. It might be a good time to soul search too, and learn about yourself. You never know.
Go to Paris, become lost.
Exactly.
In a similar vein, maybe they should have asked this one first. Never have I ever gone on a road trip. Now, I've been on a road trip.
I've gone on a road trip.
I think, we've both been on road trips. I don't know what all counts as a road trip versus not a road trip, but even the road trips to your place or to Justin's wedding, those were kind of road trips. I've been on road trips with my family to different destinations, to Texas or wherever. We've both been on a band trip that we took a charter bus for, so that was kind of a road trip because it was
That's
like an
a road
overnight
trip.
thing.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely been on road
So,
trips.
I have a specific definition for road trips, but we both have done it, so we still both put a finger down. But for me, a road trip is really like you coming down to me, in my opinion, is not a road trip. I still don't think it is. I think a road trip, at least in my definition, is you have a destination in mind, but it's much more about the trip than it fully is about the destination. You really take your time, you make your stops, you visit places. Like, I picture more of like a family vacation more as a road trip. Because a lot of times on those, you'd stop, maybe you'd stay at a hotel, or you'd visit, some sort of like monument if it's on the way, stuff like that. That's what I really picture as a road trip.
Yeah, I've
I
had
guess that's
family
just my
vacations
opinion.
where we did that too, where we had a destination in mind, but along the way we'd stay and do touristy stuff in different towns or whatever that we were passing through.
Right. So I figured you'd still have done that anyway. So yeah, either way,
There's
finger
this
down.
little town that we stopped at once that like the one thing they were famous for was like the Beatles had touched down nearby to like pit stop or something like that. So the Beatles stayed there and a bunch of people got to meet them and they were still like alive in that town, or their children were. So that was like their one claim to fame.
Oh, that's cool. Do you know where that was?
I can't remember for the life of me what the name of the town was. This was a long time ago, but
I'm just curious.
they had like a little
cool.
monument or a little area to the Beatles. It's just like this
That's neat.
random
That's cool.
thing.
Every town's got to be known for something. I know that we drove through a town once in Georgia. It was a town. It's called Butts, Butts. It was Butts, Georgia. And I remember we drove through there, and I remember thinking, okay, this is perfect. There's so many things they could do with Butts, Georgia. First of all, it's Georgia peaches, right? Peaches is their thing.
There's
true. Butts right there. They should have all this this funny commercial stuff about welcome to Butts, Georgia, because it was a small town. Nothing. There was nothing. It was just called Butts and no jokes.
They were over it.
Isn't that stupid? Yeah, I guess.
All right.
I'm still mad about it.
Never have I ever ate an entire pizza by myself. I've absolutely done that.
Oh, hell yeah, I've eaten a pizza by myself.
Come on, who hasn't?
No stories needed to be told.
Yeah, who hasn't
Yeah.
eaten a whole pizza? Not even like a personal pizza, like a whole like large pizza. Who hasn't? Come on.
Yeah. I've swung that. Yeah, it feels great in the moment. It never feels great the next day.
I still do that now.
I mean, I bet you I could now. I haven't eaten a whole pizza by myself in a while, but my relationship with food has needed to change, so I don't do that anymore.
I probably shouldn't, but I'm down to 5 now. Are you down to 5?
I'm down to 5.
I thought so. I thought we were even. Never have I ever saved a life.
I'm assuming we mean a human life here, right? Are we?
Well, that's what I was assuming too, but did you save an animal life at one point? Because it just says saved a life.
Right. I don't... Yeah, we technically saved our cat's life. Well, you know what? No, we didn't. We really didn't. The vet did. So...
Okay.
So I guess really, I don't want to go into that story because really it would be pointless because I guess we really didn't. Technically what happened was, this I'll do it the short version. Our cat got hurt very, very bad. This is not Daisy, totally different cat. And my sisters were playing on a recliner. Like they were young, very young. And the cat was in the recliner and they closed the recliner with the cat in there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was very bad. Luckily, she lived a long life after that. She was... she's dead now, but she died of old age, not of that. But I remember my sisters were so young, they didn't know what exactly happened to the cat. So there was a time where the cat was just there, and they didn't realize what happened. And then my dad went upstairs and saw the cat. He was like, Alex, we got to get this cat. We got to, and then so... In a way, the cat, honestly, not to be morbid, but the cat probably would have died if it weren't taken care of.
Right.
So, I mean, we saw it and we got to do something. But obviously, we didn't save the cat's life. We brought it. But we're the kind of, I guess in a way, you know what I'm trying to say? In a way, if no one would have gone upstairs to see it,
then it would have died, yeah. I think
it would have died.
I think you can count that.
You want to count that? Okay.
Sure, because I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
I mean, if you had chosen to do nothing, like if you had chosen not to go to the vet and just see what happens or whatever, then it would have died.
That's true.
I
Wow, I saved a
You
life.
saved a life. You saved a cat's life. I saved,
Kind of.
to the best of my knowledge, I saved a human life. Got off a bus.
What?
Yeah. Not like CPR or anything. Got off a bus with someone else too. They were just there or whatever. And they were very entranced into their phone, whatever they were doing. And as the bus was like closing up its doors, he like walked out like across the street where the bus was turning or whatever. Like literally the bus had just dropped this guy off and he had just got out. I don't know if the bus driver didn't see that he just started walking across the street or what, and the bus was turning, and I yelled at the guy. I don't even remember what I yelled, to stop or hey or whatever it was. It was just so sudden. I was just watching a man walk out into the street in front of this bus, and he looked up and he stopped. And then the bus, kept making its turn. So if he had kept walking, that bus would have 100% hit him. And did I save him? Did he just hear the bus and then stop himself? I don't know. What I know is that it was just like, I'm standing there, just got off the bus, just kind of on the sidewalk, watching this man like walk into the street. I'm like, hey, like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And
yeah, I mean, I'd say that counts. Those phones can easily pull you away from reality.
Yeah, it was just
Sound included.
weird that it was like we had just got off the bus and then he was about to get run over by the same bus. It was just, I don't know. It was just weird.
That is weird. Yeah, I would put a finger down for that.
Or keep it up. Never have I ever.
What do you mean, or keep it up?
You don't put never have I ever saved. Oh no, I have. So put a finger down. No, I confused my brain.
Yeah.
I confused my brain for a
confused
second. Yeah, sorry. Never have I ever
It's all good.
got a tattoo. I don't have a tattoo.
Me neither.
Oh, you hesitate. I'm like, oh, Alex has a secret tramp stamp.
No, I was just going to mention briefly that maybe one day, like I might get one on my wrist.
Oh yeah.
Like just very, very small, but I don't have any strong desire to get one. It's just like if it ever happens, it happens. So I don't even know what I'd necessarily want it to be. That's all.
That's fair. I just know whatever I got, I'd immediately regret. Like, oh, I don't know if I want this anymore. I don't know if I like this the way this looks. I just feel like I know myself. I'd be like, oh, I want to change it.
I have buyer's remorse with every single thing,
Yeah.
including like dinner. So trust me, if I got a tattoo, it'd be the same exact thing. Like I would go back and forth forever.
Never have I ever wanted to be on a reality TV show. I've wanted to be on a reality TV show before, for sure. Like,
Does it count if I wanted to? I was just going to say really quick. Does it count if I wanted to be on a TV show? I've never really wanted to be on a reality show.
depends on the TV show. If you're thinking like a drama or something, because I'm thinking of when I was a kid, I thought it would be really fun to be on Survivor, and that's like a reality show.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. I guess I lied because I forgot. I was really in American Idol when it was like big, like 20 years ago.
That'd be
And I
like
did, and I
reality.
was getting into music at that time, so I wanted to be on American Idol. So I lied.
There you
so
go.
yeah, I did want to be on a reality show.
Didn't was it American Idol that Peach tried out for forever ago, or was that a different thing?
I think it was The Voice, and I think he got to like a second round. I think he did pretty good.
Yeah, he didn't get like on
To my
TV or
knowledge.
anything, but yeah, he tried out.
No. Because there's like, for those of you who don't know, there's like 5 rounds or something before they even get to the producers. Like there's a lot. But he got farther than the first step, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and it's something that like you don't get to try to do all the time, so go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. So finger down, I guess, for me.
Yeah, I'm down to 3.
Me too.
This is coming down neck and neck. Never have I ever
know.
started a fire. I've started a fire.
I'm assuming we mean in a non-controlled environment, correct?
Well, I mean, like,
Because like I've started a fire in a fire pit a trillion
yeah,
times.
I've started like a campfire. Actually, I was playing with matches on stream a few weeks ago. Just playing with matches. I didn't start a fire other than the matches, but I was playing with matches. I've started like little fires, not like out of control fires. I was always in control.
So I guess what I'm asking you is like, do fire pits or campfires count?
I think so, because that's starting a fire.
That is starting a fire.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then yeah, I definitely started a fire.
Never have I ever gotten stopped by airport security. I have.
Actually, yeah, I have too. I have going to Justin's wedding.
Oh, that's more recent.
Yeah.
I got
Actually, you know what?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, you go right ahead.
No, I was
Sorry,
gonna
we're having
say-
a little bit of a delay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Discord and its delay. But no, I got the go ahead to like pass through without being checked or something like that. And I went through the metal detector and it went off. And I was like, oh goodness, what was that? And maybe it was my watch or whatever it was. Took that off, ran the metal detector. Maybe it's a belt. Took that off, ran the metal detector. Like they were trying to usher me through. For some reason, I got some sort of like expedited pass. I didn't apply for it. They were trying to put me through quick for whatever reason. And I set off the metal detector like 4 times. And at this point, security's like, okay, what the hell's going on? And I had completely forgotten. So I was, stopped by security to figure out what's going on. I completely forgot that I had one of those like external battery packs for like charging your phone or something, just in a pocket somewhere, in a pocket that I didn't check. And so it looks like this tiny like bomb in my pants, in airport security. So I got stopped for that.
A tiny bomb in my pants.
It went from like everyone's all happy and smiley to what's going on? What is he trying to smuggle in here?
I'm surprised this happened to me. And by the way, I got this mixed up. This wasn't to Justin's wedding, but it was still the same place. It was another trip that we took to one of the Carolinas because I drove to Justin's wedding. So this was another time around that same time though. I think it was maybe the year before. And I don't know why they stopped me because it was an iPad, but like because they have the technology now to where they can scan everything through and see what it is, and they kind of know what the main electronics are, right? They know what game systems are, they know what all that stuff is. But it was in my backpack, and I guess I was supposed to move it or take it out or move it to a different bag, and I forgot to. And there was some just riffraff about what's in my backpack. I'm like, it's an iPad, and then like they dug through it and stuff. It's like it's an iPad.
It sure is.
That's exactly what I said. But I think I was supposed to move it to a different bag or something, and I forgot. I just forgot that was there or something like that. So nothing crazy. I didn't have a tiny bomb in my pocket. So.
Are we both down to one finger?
One finger.
I think we're about to tie, Alex. Never have I ever gone viral online. Now, we have to define viral a little bit, but I have one claim to fame, and that's my... That's my date with Mo. He's looking at me TikTok thing with nearly 700,000 views.
Still probably the funniest thing you've ever made, in my opinion.
If that's considered viral, then I've been viral. That's my one thing.
If you're not talking about numbers and you're just talking about like a sudden spike of like everyone of viewership, and all of a sudden, just for a short, brief amount of time, everyone's like kind of watching what you did. If you're just doing it by those terms, then the same for me. And for me, my only viral video would have been when Mama isn't home. Like I did a version of that.
That's exactly what I was thinking of for you, because I don't know what viewership you got up to, but I remember at the time I was like mind blown. That blew up.
At the time, it was a lot. I don't even think it's broken 200,000 views. Like it's not that much. But for my channel at the size that it was, I didn't really do medleys yet. Like so, I was getting 100 views each video, maybe if that, maybe 80, and then all of a sudden, overnight, I had tens of thousands of views, and it kept growing and growing for like a week. Yeah, I did. You guys should look that up. If you just go to my channel and then go to the video tab and just go to popular, it's like the second most popular video on. Not anymore, actually. It's like maybe third, but it'll be at the top. And if you guys remember, it was just that when Mama isn't home, it was a video of a dad playing a trombone and his son is like slamming the door of an oven. And they were just playing like this little song. And then people started like doing versions of it, like their own versions. And I did the roommate version. So it was me and I had 4 or 3 roommates at the time. And we all just grabbed something, kind of Harlem Shake style. Like the beat dropped and then it cut and then we were all like banging something on our bellies or whatever. It was really weird. But because of it being weird, it got a bunch of views. That's what mine was.
Mine was stream footage of me watching me for a long time. It was, just look for He's Watching Me, the saga on YouTube. You'll find it. It's on my channel. Or go to my TikTok
It
at
is-
Weston Hasty. It's pinned to the top.
Yeah, it's like exactly. I was about to say it's pinned to the top. It is so hilarious. It's still like the funniest thing that you've ever done. And it's not. I make big claims, you know that. Like I say big things, but I mean that. It's so good.
My phone, when that
goodness.
was blowing up, my phone was constantly dinging that people were liking or favoriting or whatever the heck they call it, like sharing, like for days. That my phone was just always going off for that video. That's why I'm like, that's my one claim so far, and I think that's considered viral. I was blown away.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're almost at 1 million views on that. Like, I mean, you got me beat for overall like the amount of people who saw it. That's crazy. That's awesome.
So I'm putting my finger down. Are you putting your finger down?
I'm at no fingers anymore, my
I'm
friend.
at no fingers. We tied.
So what do we do now?
I guess we have to write each other a haiku because we both won, but we also both lost.
Well, maybe you know what we should do. Maybe since we both like kind of won and lost, we should make a haiku that's like degrading to ourselves.
Okay, we'll do that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like what you know, I can't think what the word is, but like self-deprecating haikus.
I don't think I've ever written like an intentionally self-deprecating haiku. Maybe, but not that I can think. I've written a lot, but maybe. All right.
We'll do that.
That's been our Never Have I
that's gonna be
Ever.
funny.
We burned through those a lot quicker in terms of like we started at 43 and only got to 56. We went through like 13 things and we both had done 10 of them. So we've still got a lot of this list yet. We're gonna be doing this list until the end of 2023.
The arc continues.
The arc continues.
I like this though, because people will look back years from now and go, "Oh yeah, you know, remember the Never Have I Ever arc? That was fun."
Where Profoundish
Or I hated
did
it,
this
whatever.
game section, this Never Have I Ever game for 4 months.
We'll definitely go back to it. We got to finish it. You're right.
Thank you all for listening. Alex, where can we find you?
Yeah. You can find me at alexduquette.net. Everything's there. I'm a musician, first and foremost. I recently put out an album called Songs from Sangamon Street. Make sure you check that out. 9 original songs, recorded, produced by me. All fun songs, story songs. Listen to them. Love it. I also have other stuff. You can find it on the same website. I do YouTube videos, and I do mainly medleys, which are basically little. I take a bunch of theme songs from TV shows and like 20 of them, and I'll put them into little bite-sized pieces into 1 3-minute song. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, what about you? Where can people find you?
I've got a website as well. WestonHasty.com is my landing place for the things that I do. I have a gaming channel called Magic Man Mo on YouTube. You can say hi to me on Twitter at Weston Hasty. Follow my TikTok to watch that viral video at Weston Hasty as well. If you want to continue following Profoundish, that's all I'm going to say about me. Profoundish, you're listening to us wherever you're listening to us. We got YouTube, we got Spotify, we got Apple. Give us a like, a favorite, of 5 stars, any of those things that you can do. If you're on Spotify, answer
Yes.
that poll or question or whatever we got going on down there, that topic. Share us with the world. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ProfoundishPod.
Yes, I second everything.
Yeah, any final words, Alex? Pick a good couple.
You know what? I'm looking forward. I'm going to say this. I am looking forward to our date next week.
Oh, yeah, tune in. Special Valentine's Day special next week. Until then, bye.